It always sounds a little sinister if we say, here's what the CEOs are telling Congress they want. But we're fundamentally talking about what they think can get America back up and running as quickly as possible, right?
That's right. And CEOs are Americans, and they want what most Americans want. They've got, a few objectives here. First of all, they want to beat the pandemic. They want to defeat this thing, get it behind us, rip the Band-Aid off, do what needs to be done. If we need testing, if we need masks, if we need to close, do what needs to be done, but let's get it behind us. They cannot have uncertainty. Second thing is they want to provide relief to citizens and economic sectors that continue to be adversely affected. If you don't provide that form of relief, you're going to create a demand-based recession because there won't be the ability to re-engage. Third thing is we want to get back to work. America needs to work responsibly, safely, but you've got to shift the responsibility for growth from the government back to the private sector where it belongs. And, Kelly, we've talked about this before, but there's a lot of concern about bankruptcies. You have these zombie companies living off of the government life support, running around half dead. There are thousands of these. A lot of them are small. But whatever it is, we got to get people back to work.
Yeah, I think it's interesting here that these CEOs generally favor extending the extra unemployment benefits. And that's because they think it would hurt the economy more to stop them than it would hurt their own ability to get people back to work.
Well, there is a concern, as you said before, about the amount. And so the CEOs would like to see the amount reduced. They'd like to see it scaled to means. Right now, I think the numbers that you just put up are what everybody's quoting. The 2/3 of the folks are making more by staying at home than they are at work. And I think that the numbers are being underreported. So, you can't hire people in restaurants today because they'd rather stay at home. So one of the things is that you've got to do this short term and get us through this thing. Second thing is there need to be limits on liability. How can you open a company if you're just going to get sued? And if you talk to trial attorneys, they're lining up here waiting to sue companies. You also need to extend the Paycheck Protection Program, especially for smaller business and minority-owned businesses that are the most vulnerable. And then the final thing is child support and early childhood. These are small businesses unto themselves, and they have been killed through this because they haven't been allowed to open.
No, I mean, we experienced this firsthand, trying to figure out, take them to daycare, don't take them to daycare, and so forth. There's one other thing in here that is interesting, and it's you guys are pushing for those PPP loans. We're talking a lot about big business, but this is interesting to me. PPP loans of less than $150,000 you think should be forgiven. Why is that?
Well, the problem is when these small businesses come back, they will have to rehire, they will have to reinvest, they will have to increase their operating costs for cleaning, well beyond anything that they've ever done before. It's a small portion of costs on a big business, but for a small business, it's a high proportion. So the idea here is, the PPPs are being forgiven, right, up to this point, if it's used for payroll and operating expenses. We're just saying continue to do that because it puts people back into a footing where they can go back into business. Otherwise, they're going to have to get other loans to cover these loans or take out credit card. It just is going to create bankruptcies, and we have to get beyond that. There's a lot of stuff going on here that is being artificially buoyed by the government transfers to households. We've had a $3 trillion annualized rate since COVID started, and you've got delinquency rates on loans and properties and so forth. So if you delete those government transfers, personal income is actually down 30% versus pre-COVID. That's significant, and we don't want a demand-based recession.